Ronnie Hickman, they say that practice or camp really doesn't start until they put on pads. That said, it seems like as it gets hotter every day and the intensity ramps up every day, you guys have kind of hit the ground running long before pads this year.
1,000%. Every time we touch this field, that's when it starts for us. We don't want to wait for the pads. Although the notch will turn up a little bit when those pads come on, we like to take advantage anytime we're out here.
I mean, football is football even in shells and shorts, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me about you year 3. Year 1, you're trying to make the team. Year 2, you're coming off a great playoff run, the pick 6 against the Jets, making the playoffs, all that. Year 3, Ronnie, not that you have not started games, you have, but year 3, it's like, dude, it is all there for you, kind of.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like you said, year 1 was kind of, making the team. Year 2, getting comfortable, and I think year 3 has just allowed me to get way more comfortable into this defense. Understanding my role more is one of the things I wanted to work on in this offseason. And then ultimately, my job is to be the best teammate I can and, do my role as best as I can.
Tell me about your role. Like, help us understand your role.
At that safety position, we call ourselves the nerve center. And that's communicating to everyone, keeping everyone chill. Bandit likes to say we put the fire out. We call ourselves the firefighter. We go into the fire and then we kind of calm it down. But it's just being there for my teammate, being the best teammate I can be.
Put the fire out, you're kind of last. Well, you are. You're the last line of defense.
1,000.
Yeah. In years past, you had veterans there. Here you bring in Jenkins and Casey. They are veterans as well. But as you said, it is your 3rd year in the system. Mm-hmm. So you are the young veteran.
I guess so.
You could learn stuff from them, but you're the guy that's familiar with the system. So what's that dynamic like?
It's good because like you said, with Jenks and with Casey and with Nick, those guys they got more years on me. But like you said, this is my 3rd year in the system. So just being able to, kind of help those guys, but then also picking up cues from them. And you can see day 4, those guys are getting comfortable in the system and they're kind of adding those vet techniques that I'm stealing from and taking from. And it's just good to have their experience, but also my experience with the playbook going into year 3.
You are going to be a modest guy, so I will say it. And understanding what we said before about the beginning of camp and how you're kind of easing into it a bit. The defense right now is ahead of the offense, right? Like Friday, the defense, you guys practically pitched a shutout. Does this defense, and I know it's only camp, feel like it's getting its swag back?
1,000%. Swag is one of the 3 identities we want to have as a defense. And it starts now. In these dog days when we put in work and there's not too many people out here, we sweat and we grinding. This is why we get that swag. You only get swag when you're making plays. You only have that energy when you're making plays and playing together as a defense. So we like to build off of that and start fast.
Heard a lot of people say, well, listen, 2 years ago, the number 1 defense. Last year, obviously, it was what it was. And when Nathan says, when Bernie says, hey, no, this defense is going to get back to the form we saw in 2023, they say, why? Right? Why? I mean, like, why should I believe that? Why should they believe that?
1, because we know who we are. We know what we want to do, and none of us want to feel how we felt last year. You know what I'm saying? We all know what it was like coming in after losing week in and week out. So it's on us, and we know that. We've taken the steps since OTAs. We've been a different team compared to last year. And we know what it takes. It's not much about the talk or, what I'm telling you right now. This could mean nothing. But when the lights come on and when it's time to play, we'll be ready.
The front end and the back end always have to be in order, right? Always in alignment. The guys rushing and you guys on the back end as well.
Sir.
But those guys rushing help you out and you help them out. Mm-hmm. This D-line group.
Crazy.
The first couple of days.
Crazy.
I mean, do we agree? They are the standout of this camp, that D-line group.
1,000%. Coverage and rush working together. That's what we say. When they do their job, it makes our job easier. And when we do our job, it makes it easier for them.
Schwartz always talks about the waves, right? The A team, the B team. Like there are a legit 3 waves on the defensive line on this team.
Yes, it is. That competition up front is crazy. And as a safety, as a DB, I love it. Those guys are hungry, and I know they're going to give it their all.
Yeah, because that's going to give you, tips.
There you go.
Throws.
There you go. Got to get those.
Yeah, and that's how you guys got to eat. Grant had to pick a couple of days ago in practice. I know that as well. But the flip side of that is that front 7 is also back there hard on the quarterbacks and hard on this whole line. And like I know it's early, like I said, hard to evaluate the quarterbacks. I know it is not your job, Ronnie Hickman. So I know you're going to say, hey, I'm not picking the quarterback. I know you're not. But just tell me what you think of that group. Because, look, when all the fans are out here, that's what, they're pointing their cameras at those guys wearing the orange jerseys.
Honestly, I think it's just great competition for those guys. When I'm watching those guys or if I'm playing against them, I'll just see 5 highly competitive guys in that QB room. And when we're out there, they're going at it, I ain't picking no favorites. Y'all ain't getting no clickbait out of me.
I was not gonna. That's not what I was doing. I promise you.
But like I said, man, those guys are competing. Everyone's making the plays, and they're all learning off of each other. So it's been good from a defensive perspective, seeing the different style of quarterbacks play, and I'm excited to see them.
And hey, like we always have that 23 moment with Joe and the Jets and you and the pick six. I mean, it's about. I know that was 2 years ago. Joe said he doesn't even think about that anymore, but like that magic's still there.
It is.
It is. We're going to see some of that magic and hopefully see it on the field pretty soon for this guy, Ronnie Hickman. Great to see you, man.
Thank
Thanks
you
for doing this.